All right, I got a story. I bought some equipment on Reverb from the pianist and songwriter Ben Folds. It was a pair of Angus EQs that I think were either mislabeled or whoever was selling it didn't know what they were. They're very rare. I happened to know what they were, and when I saw it and it was only $500, I bought it. Even if it didn't work, I figured it was worth buying. Then when I got them, I didn't want to like them because I basically just wanted to turn around and sell them. And I would have made probably 4 or 5 times profit. I don't do that too often. I'm not like some asshole real estate speculator, but every once in a while, it's like you see something. And when I got them, I thought, let's try them out. And they were awesome. They were amazing. Really interesting design, and they sounded great, and they worked perfectly. So I used them on a couple of records, but at the time, I was really just doing a bunch of tracking. So I was in production on a bunch of records and not mixing a bunch. I had a stereo pair, right? So it's like, that's what it was for, really, is for mixing down. I was putting it on like a master bus. And I mixed 2 records with it, and it sounded great. But then I went like a few months and I didn't use it at all. And around that time, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car for about 2 years. So we have one car. My wife has the car. Our little girl is in school. So I was just we don't live far from the studio, and I was just walking or riding my bike or getting a ride. Around that time, I just thought, you know what? I'm not really using this EQ. I got it for cheap. It's awesome, but I think I'd rather have a car. So I put them up online. Within, a day or two, the actor Vincent Gallo got in touch with me and made me an offer on them, and I sold them to him. Within a day or two after that, I bought a car. Then I had a car, and I didn't have an EQ, and I didn't give a shit because to me, the value of that equipment was relative. It got me thinking a lot about that. If Vincent Gallo turns around and he writes or mixes or produces an amazing song with that EQ, then for him, buying them from me was worth it. The value is relative. For me, buying a car was more valuable. I have plenty of EQ on the board. It's not like you know what I mean? It was just a tool. But the amount of worth that I placed on that tool was far less than what he had placed on it. I think that's something to consider in pro audio a lot. You always get people saying like, you have to have this, you have to have that. You have to have a Neumann U87. Well, I've made like 100 records. I've never used a Neumann U87. Clearly, you don't have to have that to make a great record. I've made records that charted on Billboard Top 20, iTunes Top 20. You don't need a Neumann. Is it nice to have one? Of course. Everything to me is like a ratio. It's an equation in a way. Have people made great records without them? Yes. Have they made great records with them? Sure. But money is it's not equal in all instances, right? If you have $1,000 and you spend that $1,000 on only a microphone instead of a mixer and some cables and some monitors and maybe a DAW or recording system or a Tascam 246, which I think is an incredible tool, just mixed the new Psychic Temple record down to a Tascam 246. Then it's just something to consider. What you do with the money that you have and what you accomplish with it is variable. So if Vincent Gallo goes and uses that EQ, then it was worth it. If he writes a new song or produces a great piece of music because he has it, great. For me, I ended up giving the car to my son. We got the coronavirus thing happening, so school's closed, and my wife is staying at home with the baby. So we only needed one car again anyway. So it's just kind of funny how that happened. So the way that I was thinking about it in my mind was Vincent Gallo bought my son a Volvo. So anyway, just something to think about. All equipment value is relative. What you do with it, what you do with what you have, that's the real trick.